Hello, besties! Welcome back to this week's episode of your Manifesting Bestie podcast. I'm your host, Flora, and we are diving into all things mindset and manifestation and divine feminine energy like we always do. And I've been really dedicating this season to speak to women, to get us to expand ourselves to a higher level, see our true potential, and understand the power that has been muted inside of us and really suppressed for a long time. And I noticed that we do have some qualities as women that have been passed down from generations from our moms to our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, so on and so forth. And some of these qualities can help us, and some of them are very detrimental to our growth as women. Especially if we are women who are into manifestation, right? We're trying to create the most incredible reality possible for ourselves. We are literally here to create heaven on earth for ourselves. We are here to expand. But we can only expand when we give ourselves permission to do so. And a lot of us have revoked our own permission slips. And I want to hand that power back to my women today. I want to hand this power back to every single person listening to this episode, because I want to make something so clear to you guys. And I hope that this will help you on your journey to your expansion, to get you to your next level, that new timeline, that quantum leap that you have been creating in your mind. From generation to generation, it has been passed down to women that it's safer for us to expect less. And it has made us actually convince ourselves that we want less for ourselves. We are just so okay with a humble life, with living in our own mediocrity, not demanding more, not expecting more, not asking for more, not striving for more, but being totally okay and just being complacent with where we are. We have been told that it's sinful to want more, to have bigger desires, to ask for more, to expand ourselves as women, because women have been brought up to be selfless individuals. We have been taught that in order to be a good woman, you have to be self-sacrificing. You need to sacrifice your own goals and your own dreams to make the people around you comfortable. You have been told that you will receive blessings or you will receive some type of virtue or some type of benefit in your life if you just play smaller. If you give yourself less, if you live this humble life and convince yourself that less is more, then in the long run, you will be rewarded. You're going to receive some kind of a medal, some type of blessing. Maybe in the afterlife, you'll receive some type of a big reward. I don't know. Most of us live in this lifestyle in our mind that, you know what? It's okay, I probably shouldn't ask for so much. I should probably just settle with what is. I should just settle for what I have. So I want to ask the collective, why did we convince ourselves that we want less? At what stage did we have to get to? How did it get beaten out of us to sit there and agree that wanting less for ourselves is somehow better? Is somehow a blessing in disguise, and that consistently being self-sacrificing, giving up everything for everybody else and putting ourselves last in line is somehow beneficial to the world, is somehow beneficial to us. Someone up in the sky is gonna come and bless me because I just keep giving up on myself and putting everybody first. I will bend over backwards for that person and that person and that person if they need something from me just to prove myself. And I'm okay with being last. I'm okay with putting myself on the back burner because everyone else is so much more important. I just want everyone else to be comfortable. I don't want to make anybody feel any type of discomfort. So let me make them all comfortable. Let me give up and sacrifice myself, sacrifice my own needs, expect less from myself and give everybody else more. When did we get to a point of convincing ourselves that that is a righteous way to live, that that is a beneficial way for us to live? And unfortunately, this is a huge subconscious issue. This is a spell that we are under as women. And this spell was put on us long time ago. I'm talking thousands of years ago. This spell was put onto women that you should demand less, and that you need to shrink, and that you need to want less for yourself. And you cannot be demanding. You cannot ask for more. Who do you think you are? And due to this spell that women are under, we still to this day will convince ourselves that we do want less. It's okay. I can settle. I can realize that I live a mediocre life, and I can just be okay with it because I do have all these big goals and I do have all these big dreams and I do have all these really big delicious desires and I do want a lot of things out of life, but maybe that makes me a bad person. Maybe that makes me selfish. God forbid a woman is selfish. God forbid a woman puts herself first. God forbid a woman sees potential in herself and goes after it. Oh my God, she's such a bad girl. She's a really bad girl. She should be punished for that type of behavior. No, she needs to be a good girl, a quiet girl, a humble girl, a girl who doesn't think too much of herself. Guys, unfortunately, due to religious practices all around the world, this is how women are told to think and view themselves. And the powers that be understand how the mind works. The powers that be understand that when a person has a very colorful imagination and demands more for themselves, they get it. The world will give it to them, and they will become powerful, and they will attain more, and they will have more access to all these incredible things in and around the world. But if a person just settles in their mind and refuses to use their imagination for growth and for expansion, refuses to demand more for themselves, that individual will willingly shrink herself and never reach her full potential and never understand her own power. And they like that. They're okay with that. They prefer that. They prefer women who play small. They prefer women under that same spell. They prefer a humble, good girl, polite girl. Oh, just be more polite. Just smile at everyone that walks past you. Just be more self-sacrificing. Serve everybody. It's that servant mentality. I have to serve everybody but myself, because it somehow makes me a bad individual to want more. I had this conversation actually come up. It was on one of my TikTok videos when I was telling people my next goal. I had a really big financial goal that I almost hit. I was trying to hit a $300,000 monthly income goal for a really, really long time now. I fell short. I hit $288,000 in the month of May, which is still pretty incredible. And I was telling people, you know what, scratch that goal of 300K. I'm upping my next goal to 400K months. And I just like to talk about these big dollar amounts out loud, because I know it stretches the mind of the individual listening to me, because it's going to give them a bigger picture of what the possibilities are for them. And I love when women listen to me talking about money, because they start to stretch their mind. They start to expect bigger things for themselves. They start to see that there are so many endless possibilities out in the world. So I personally love talking about money. I love talking about my income. I love sharing my income. I love telling everybody in the world, yes, I make multi-six figures a month. It feels so good. I love talking about it, because I know there's going to be somebody who is listening to me who has never heard of a number that big or an income that big, and that an average everyday girl can attain that online by sharing her thoughts, expressing herself, following her passion, pouring herself into her work, that they too can attain numbers like that, right? So I was talking about, yeah, my next big goal is going to be $400,000 months and da-da-da-da, and I was so into it. I was so hype about it. I just, I genuinely enjoy talking about money with other women. And somebody wrote in the comments section, they said, don't you think you're asking for too much? Almost insinuating that I should feel bad for having really big goals, for wanting more for my life, for always stretching the boundaries and going harder, going bigger, expecting more, wanting more, expanding myself more, expanding my business, wanting to work with more clients. And that for having these really big goals, I should somehow feel ashamed, right? So people will try to place shame on you not because you're a bad person, not because you cannot attain those really big goals. No. They will try to shame your really, really big goals, because at some point in their life, they gave up on themselves. They accepted the spell that told them you shouldn't ask for more and you should just be okay with where you are. So the people who have given up on their dreams, the people who have convinced themselves that, you know what, I can just settle. You know what, I'm not that important to go after the things that I actually want. You know what, I can't do it, right? So the person who has convinced themselves that they cannot do it, they cannot attain certain things, they cannot go after certain things, they give up on their own dreams, and they are so mad that you have not given up on yours. They are so mad that you broke through that spell that they are still under. It makes them very uncomfortable to see you striving for greatness, to see you reaching for more, always wanting bigger, always setting higher and higher and higher standards for yourself, breaking through barriers, breaking through income ceilings that people have placed upon you. They hate seeing you go through the experience that you're always wanting more, and you're ready to work for it, you're ready to go for it, you're ready to manifest it, you're ready to expand yourself and to express it and to put it out there and be okay with other people's opinions and be okay with being judged and being okay with being seen and perceived. They hate that you can do that. They're angry at it because they realize they gave up on themselves at some point. They realize they don't have it in them to keep striving and to keep demanding more. And since they are still under the spell of diminishing themselves, asking for less, shrinking themselves, and just making it the norm that they gave up on their dreams and making it the norm that they do not show up for themselves, they look at you and they're like, how dare you? How dare you keep pushing the boundaries? How dare you set higher expectations for yourself every 6 months? How come your goals keep increasing? Don't you think you should want less? Don't you think you should want less for yourself? Don't you think you should ask for less? Don't you think you have enough? Right? You should probably stay where you are. Do you know how good it feels for other people to see you remain complacent and to see you stuck and to see you convince yourself too that you're not worthy of more? It makes them so happy because misery does love company. So when people try to talk you out of your goals, or they try to shit on your goals, diminish your goals, sprinkle a little bit of their own disbelief on your goals in hopes in the back of their mind that you will somehow no longer believe in yourself to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish, they get so happy, right? That's their source of joy. They're like, ooh, yes, I see her light is dimming a bit because I just told her that she should probably start asking for less, right? Who does she think she is? They get off on that. They feel so good because they gave up on themselves such a long time ago. They're still sitting here in awe, questioning, how the do you still keep going? How come you haven't stopped? They hate it. It makes their blood boil to see you always demanding more because they gave up on themselves such a long time ago. And yes, I do promote women becoming more selfish. I think it is the best possible thing that a woman who has been taught that sacrificing herself for other people is the best thing that she can possibly do. I do promote selfishness. I do want you to be more selfish. I want you to be less selfless around other people because all you do is break your back for everybody else. And all you do is convince yourself that that is what makes you a good woman. It does not. It makes you empty and it makes you feel broken, and no one pours into you because you stop pouring into yourself. So I want us collectively to stop being that woman who has convinced herself that making everybody else happier and diminishing yourself is somehow virtuous, is somehow going to create blessings in your life. It's not. It just takes more and more and more out of you until you are so empty, you are so broken, you are so low that you always look outside of you for some type of external validation because you cannot validate yourself. And that is what we are going to stop doing moving forward. And I want you to understand something when it comes to universal laws, when it comes to being the operant power of your reality. The universe is not on a budget. There is no budget. Budget is the scarcity mentality that they have kind of pushed onto us to accept that there are finite resources on this planet, that there are finite resources that are somehow going to just end at some point. Do you think resources would not have tapped out by now? They would have. After thousands of years, we still have resources? Yeah, because it never stops expanding. The universe never stops expanding. It expands every time you launch a desire to create the resources you will need to receive your manifestations. So I need you to understand that the universe is not budgeting. There is no budget. There is no scarcity. Because the universe operates through the law of abundance, meaning everything is in abundance. And all you need to do to understand that truth is to look at what the universe creates. Have you ever seen a blade of grass on its own, or do you see an abundance of grass? Have you ever seen a tree all on its own, or do you see an abundance of trees? Do you ever see a car outside all on its own, or do you always see an abundance of cars on the road? When you're driving around, do you see one building, or do you see an abundance of buildings? When you look at your head of hair, do you see one strand of hair or an abundance of hair on top of your head? Your red blood cells, you have one red blood cell or an abundance of red blood cells keeping you alive, keeping your immune system healthy and safe. Everything operates through abundance. The resources are already present. You asking for less does not make you a good person. You should be demanding more from yourself. You should be demanding more from expectations, from your boundaries. You should be demanding for more through the entire universe, through all your goals. You should have such big goals that it scares you. You should have such big goals that when you speak them out loud, it sounds a little bit silly. Your goals should scare people. But you know what? No matter how big your goals are, it's never going to scare off universal laws. They're always going to bring you more. More of what you focus on, more of what you demand, more of what what you align with, more of where you place your energy. So I need you to stop scrolling on TikTok and on Instagram and on YouTube and looking at things that make you feel awful, because it's just going to keep bringing you more and more abundance of feeling awful. I want you to start placing all of your focus on your dreams, on your goals. Start consuming content that aligns with the lifestyle that you desire for yourself. Stop convincing yourself that you coming last makes you a good woman, that you serving everybody but yourself makes you a good woman. It does not. It just makes you the woman that the patriarchy benefits off of, because the patriarchy cannot remain alive without the free labor of women every single day. So I need you to step it up. I need you to start asking for more. Go bigger. You said you wanted $1 million business. I want you to demand a $10 million business. You're trying to manifest some guy to text you back. I want you to start manifesting you falling in love with yourself. You returning back to home. You actually valuing, appreciating yourself, placing your self-worth so high, because those guys are going to come flowing in anyway, giving you all the attention, all the affection, all the love that you've been craving, because you finally decided to give it to yourself first. You're manifesting a 1-bedroom apartment. I want you to start manifesting a penthouse, your dream home. I know your dream car is not a Honda Civic. I know you want a nicer car than that. I know you want something bigger, something more luxurious, something more expensive, something more expansive. So I want you to start thinking bigger. Stop convincing yourself that wanting less makes you a good person. It makes you a holy person. It doesn't, because the universe cannot expand by you asking for less. It can only expand by you demanding more. You creating bigger goals, bigger desires, so it can expand to gather all the resources that you need. That is how the universe never, ever runs out of anything, because every single thing that we look at is operating through the same law, the law of abundance. So you are here to ask for more, to become more, to expand yourself more. Not to be selfless, not to be a people pleaser, but to be the woman who sets the tone. She's the one that everybody looks at and is like, damn, I gotta step my game up. Like, damn, I should be asking for more. How did she do it, right? I want you to become the example for everybody around you. I want you to become the woman that everybody looks to as the prototype of their desired life. Because imagine living a life so large that it begins to inspire women by the thousands, the hundreds of thousands, or even by the millions to also strive for more. That is how we give women their power back. Not by asking for less, not by shrinking ourselves to fit into smaller boxes that we have already outgrown, but by understanding that the higher expectations we set for ourselves, the more that we demand, the more that we manifest, the bigger things that we call in, we are actually making way for more women to get to that level as well. Because if they see you winning, they will take that as a blessing. They will take that as a confirmation that they can do it for themselves. There is no better message than I have ever received than all the women that pour into my DMs, that pour into my social media, that I receive daily emails from saying, Flora, just because of what I've seen you accomplish, I bet it all on myself. I convinced myself I could do it too. I was an immigrant as well. I was silenced as well. I didn't have any power as well. I had people take advantage of me in the corporate world as well. But you know what? Because I saw you winning and you never shut up. You never shut your mouth. You're always expanding yourself. You're always striving for more. You're always setting higher and higher goals for myself. I looked at you and I said, why not me? That is the biggest compliment I have ever received. And for that reason, I have to keep expanding myself. And I strongly invite you to do the same thing. I strongly invite you to set higher goals, more success, more blessing, bigger opportunities, better relationships, better health, higher standards. I want you to have such high standards in your life that if anybody even steps to you that reeks of low effort, low energy, low standards, they are terrified of you. They won't even come into your personal space, right? I want you to be that person. I want you to have such incredible expectations of your life that a mediocre life turns you off and you start commanding more through your speech, through your imagination, through your energetic state, through your thought patterns. You start commanding more, and then you start to recalibrate and align yourself with that higher timeline, with the women that you see who are winning. You're like, you know what? I want that life too. Because she demanded more, I can demand more too. Because she expanded to a higher level, I can expand myself too. Because she jumped timelines and she's living in a reality that I never thought could be real for myself. I'm gonna do the same thing. Because why am I so okay with always settling? Why am I so okay with not asking for more, with diminishing my own desires? When did I convince myself that that was okay? Because you're here to live your one life, and nothing changes if nothing changes. Nothing improves if you don't improve. No one is coming to save us. No one. We all learned this the hard way. There's no man coming to save us. There's no relationship coming to save us. Our employer is not going to save us. There's no external God outside of us that is going to come and save us. No, it's all on us. So we cannot continue convincing ourselves that being a self-sacrificing woman is somehow a benefit to me or to anybody else. It's the biggest slap in the face to my dreams. It's the biggest slap in the face for my future self. So if anyone steps to you and has tried to tell you that you should ask for less, that your goals are a little too big, or they might have laughed at you, or they might have looked at you and said, oh, you and your little business, right? A lot of people like to say that to diminish your value, calling it a little business or a little project or a little this or a little that, or how's your little job going, right? They always try to diminish you, try to disqualify you. And for that exact reason, I want you to go harder. I want you to go bigger. I really want you to be that example for so many people that it makes them uncomfortable and it makes them stretch their mind to higher dimensions, because that's really how we elevate other women. We show them that they don't have to compromise. We show them that they do not have to shrink, and we show them that they do not have to put themselves last. They do not have to settle. They do not have to be okay with just living a mediocre life that they are unhappy with truly in their soul. Guys, this is why women deal with more autoimmune issues, with more depression, with more anxiety, because they are not living a life in alignment with what they desire. That's point blank, period. Because when a woman does live in full alignment of the life that she desires, following her passion, following the things that light her soul on fire, anxiety, depression are a thing of the past. The body starts to heal itself. The nervous system starts to rewire itself. The subconscious mind begins to rewire and recalibrate itself to success, to opportunities, to blessings, to pure internal joy and bliss. This is how we heal a collective of women who always accepted less for themselves and told themselves that that's okay, that they're okay with that. Because for some reason, wanting more makes you a bad person. This is where we end that generational curse. This is where we draw that line and we start to demand more. We start to expand more. Starting today, we are asking for more. We are showing up as more. We are launching greater desires, and we are not going to let anybody else who has already given up on their own dreams convince ourselves that that somehow makes us a bad person. Because you're not here to be a good girl. You're here to live a life filled with pleasure, filled with satisfaction, and filled with expansion. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of your Manifesting Bestie podcast. Drop down below what topics you guys want me to go over for the Divine Feminine Collective this season. I would love to hear your feedback. Until I see you guys again next Wednesday for another episode.